like sending emails. We're changing.
Okay. Today we're going to discuss one very timely topic, email security. So basically, we use email every day, but maybe you are not familiar with how email works. So basically, the email system we are using, there are mainly three components. First is a user agent. You use a user agent to compose, edit your email, and read, receive, and send your email. So the user agent could be a standalone application, and it could also be a webmail like your Gmail, Yahoo Mail. And there are a lot of mail servers, and those mail servers will send and receive emails on users' behalf. And those agent and mail servers, they use three basic protocols to communicate with each other. First, there is a SMTP protocol, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and the POP3 called the Post Office Protocol, and the IMAP, Internet Message Access Protocol. So all these three protocols, they are application layer protocols. So SMTP, usually the server will use port number 25, and the POP3 will use port number 110, and the IMAP will use port number 143. So all those three protocols, since they are application layer protocols, they use TCP as the underlying protocol. And since they are application protocols and using TCP, so we can use TLS or SSL to protect them. But later we can see that TLS or SSL cannot offer the security features we want for emails. So the user agent, like I just said, they can be standalone applications. So usually standalone applications will use POP3 or IMAP to receive or download email from a mail server. But if they want to send out a mail, they will use SMTP. So SMTP is a protocol to send mail, and the POP and the IMAP are the protocols to retrieve emails from mail servers. So the very popular standalone mail applications, you may have used Outlook, Thunderbird, or Mac Mail. So if you want to use those standalone applications, you have to set up your email account to support either POP3 or IMAP protocol. So if you are using using Gmail and you want to use Outlook to retrieve emails from your Gmail account, you have to go to your Gmail account settings, and you can find that there are settings for POP download and IMAP access. So you have to enable those so your Outlook can retrieve emails from those servers. So POP is kind of very old protocol, but most standalone applications, they are still supporting that protocol. So if you use POP, technically the default operation is your standalone application will download email from your mail server and delete that mail from your mail server. So technically, you can only use one device to receive email, because that device, your standalone mail client, will delete mail from your mail server. So now usually you use a lot of devices to access your mailbox. You use a Gmail client on your Android phone. then you may have another phone using another client to access your Gmail account. So those standalone applications do not really delete your emails when it retrieves that email from the mail server. So usually they are using IMAP protocols, not POP3 protocols. So to set up your Outlook or whatever application to retrieve or send the email for you, obviously you have to tell those applications your username and your password for that email account. Also, you have to set up the server address for the incoming server, which will use POP3 or IMAP, or the outgoing mail server, which will use SMTP protocol to listen to your outgoing mails. So you have to use those, you have to set up those server addresses before you can really use your Outlook or other standalone applications. So this is the network topology, how it looks. When Alice wants to send an email to Bob using a standalone application, an email client, Alice's client will use SMTP to send this message to Alice's mail server. And Alice's mail server will send this message, this email, to Bob's mail server through internet. So there might be multiple hops. So the mail servers, they can relay emails for other mail servers. So whenever they send those emails, they are using SMTP protocol. And when Bob's client tries to receive that email, download that email from the mail server, the application will use POP3 or IMAP4 protocol. So besides those standalone applications we use, now we are more familiar with those webmail. We just use browsers to log in our Gmail account and edit, compose emails there and send and receive emails. So because we are using browsers, and we know browsers, they do not use other protocols. They only use HTTP. So in this case, the protocol will be different. So first, when Alice wants to send out an email to Bob, so Alice will have a browser, and the browser will construct a collection with the HTTP server. And that HTTP server has some trusted channel with Alice's mail server, and then there is a module called SMTP client, and that module will send Alice's email to Bob's mail server through internet, use SMTP. But in this case, when Alice sends out a mail, send out anything to the server, she's not using SMTP, but just HTTP. So this can be easily secured because we can use HTTPS to secure this transaction. And when Bob logs in her mail server, basically he logs in a HTTP server, and that HTTP server has a trusted connection with Bob's mail server, and also Bob will use HTTP protocols to retrieve his email. So in this case, Bob is not using POP3 or IMAP to download and retrieve email, but HTTP. So before we look at the security problems of email, we take a look at the format of email. So email is when they design the email, it's very like the mail we used in post office. So there is an envelope and there is a content. So the envelope part is just some key value pairs. So there are keys like mail from, and this is a sender of the email, and there are recipient to, which is should be the recipient of the email. And this part is called envelope. So the envelope part can be changed by any mail servers. So mail servers, when they relay those emails, they will add some new headers there. And for users, whenever you receive an email, you usually only see what is inside this envelope. And there are also headers, and headers also key value pairs from name to name and date and subject, and also body, which is the content of your email. So when they designed this many years ago, they followed the post office paradigm. So when you go to post office to mail something, the post office does not check your identity. The post office doesn't check if you are the sender. They just take the mail. They don't care about the from fields. They only care about the to fields. So it's the same thing for the email servers. So whenever you use SMTP protocol to ask an email server to send an email for you, that server doesn't really check whether you are the originator of that email. So this opens doors for spoofing. And usually when you receive an email, you don't see the envelope part, but all the client and the webmail, they offer you the interface to see that part. So for example, in Gmail, for any email, there is a button, show original. And if you click this button, you can see everything in this email, all the headers in the envelope and all the headers in the content. So we said that this SMTP protocol, they don't really check the authenticity of the sender. So how it works? How does it send mail? So basically, SMTP is on top of TCP. So first, your mail server, that mail server help you to send out email is called MTA client, and the mail server that receives that email is called an MTA server. So first, the client will build a TCP connection with the server, and the server always listens at port number 25. Then after the TCP handshake, the client will just send out plain text. And the plain text is just that format of email 9 by 9 sent out to the server. So first, it will send out mail from, and the server says, okay, I received it. Then send another line, which is recipient. And after that, there are control commands like data. And data means I'm going to send the content of the email, including the email headers, not the envelope headers. So from there, the client side will send from to date subject and a blank line. After the blank line would be the content of the actual email. So the format of it is very like HTTP actually. So they all use plain text. Nothing is encrypted. So obviously the problem of, we see the protocol. So now we see the problem is first, there is no confidentiality. So everything in email sent out, they are in clear plain text over open network. So if multiple mail servers relays your email, they all see your email. And all those mail servers and anyone in the data path, they could change your email by, actually sometimes it's required for them to change part of your email, especially the envelope part. It's like the post office, they may stamp your envelope. So all the mail servers will do something similar. And another problem is the data origin, there is no authentication for that. So the mail servers, like post office, they do not verify if the one bring if the guy brings me the mail, is actually the sender of this mail. They don't care about that. So that has been a huge problem. So let's try to tackle this problem. First, we want to solve the confidentiality problem. We want to stop eavesdrops. So this is actually the easy part. So because we are using SMTP to send emails, and we know SMTP is built on top of TCP, so we can simply use SMTP over SSL or TLS to maintain the confidentiality. So in that case, your standalone application, mail client, and your mail server will establish a secured TCP collection, encrypted, and so the mail sent from your laptop to your mail server will be encrypted. Then the mail server, whenever it forwards your email to other servers, they will also use SMTP over SSL. And because this is a different protocol, even though it's still called SMTP, but it's a different protocol, kind of like HTTPS. So they have to, the server side, they have to listen at a different port. So usually there is a port number 465 reserved for this purpose. And whenever you want to receive or download your mail from a mail server, you are using POP or IMAP, and this can also be secured using POP or IMAP over SSL. And there are also dedicated port numbers for those purposes. So the reason we can do that is also because POP3 and the IMAP, they are application level protocols on top of TCP. So all the application level protocols on top of TCP, we can protect it. We at least protect the confidentiality of it with TLS or SSL. So if you are not using a standalone application, you are just using Webmail, then it's even easier for you. You just need to use the HTTPS version of your mail account instead of the HTTP version. So in that case, everything between your browser and the HTTPS server will be encrypted. However, all these solutions, they can only maintain the confidentiality in transmission. And you see that there are multiple entities involved in that data path. So if you really want to send an email to your friend, that email has been encrypted multiple times and decrypted multiple times in the middle. So all the mail servers, they still see your email. So there is a way to maintain end-to-end security between two email accounts. So there is a protocol called PGP, a pretty good privacy. It was developed in the 1990s. So this protocol is not really only designed for emails. It can be used to encrypt any application data. So if you use the protocol to encrypt your application data and put that data in your email as the email content, and the receiver side, when they receive that email content and decrypt this, only they can see the plain text of it. And everything in the middle, all the mail servers, they only see the ciphertext. So this is the same as you and your friend share a secret key and encrypt your email and send that email using the normal infrastructure. But this guy, he open sourced his tool and he used a public key system to do this. And it got kind of popular. So how it works? First, let's say this is your email content, which is data. It's not the email envelope header. It's not even the email header. So it's just your email content. And when you use a PGP, you download a PGP tool. First, will generate a pair of keys, a private key and public key of RSA. Then you will use that private key to actually encrypt a lot. You will first generate a secret key because you want to use your secret key to encrypt the data. Sometimes the data can be huge. There might be attachments. So the secret key will be encrypted using your RSA private key. And also the data will be encrypted using the secret key. Then the encrypted data and the encrypted private key will be consolidated together as an encrypted message. Then you send this message to your friend using the normal email infrastructure. And when your friend receives this, he will first use your public key to decrypt the symmetric key, and use that symmetric key to decrypt the content to get the email content. So this is very similar to what we did in previous protocols. We only use symmetric key to encrypt data, but in order to share that symmetric key, we usually use public key to encrypt that and send it over. Public key system. However, the problem here is, how can your friend know what is your public key? Because they are going to use your public key to decrypt this message. So usually a lot of security professors, they will put their, yeah.
You're saying, I think you might be saying it backwards. You encrypt with their public key before you send it, and they decrypt with their private key.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay. So I was talking about more like a signature. Yeah, you're right. So a lot of professors, they actually put their public key on their website or attach their public key as an attachment on their email whenever they send out an email. So whoever wants to send a secure email to them, they will use that public key to encrypt a secret key. And that secret key used to encrypt the data. So, but not many people are still using this. Sometimes if you visit someone's website, you can say that this is my PGP key there. I used to put that on my website too, because I want to show people I know something about security. But I never got one encrypted email, so I took it out. But the problem with this protocol is only the email content part is protected. Only the confidentiality and the authenticity of the email content part is protected. The email envelope, the email headers, they are not really protected, because in the envelope part, those are informations for mail servers to route those emails, to know where I should send this email. So they cannot really encrypt that part. And if you really want to authenticate those parts, the mail servers has to be the one to sign those envelopes. So if you go to a post office and you want to send a mail, and the post office is the one to stamp your envelope, and that stamp can only be done by the post office. As a sender, you should not be able to do that. So to solve this problem, to verify that all those informations in the email envelopes are correct, to make sure those emails are actually from those email addresses, recently there is a new protocol, new standard called the DMARC. domain-based message authentication. So basically, this standard makes sure that the email sent out from, if the email has a field in the envelope saying this is sending out from an email account at gmail.com, then the gmail.com has to sign that email, verify it is actually sent by me, not by another mail server. So this protocol, this standard, is quite new. So the corresponding RFC was published last year. But the two cornerstones of this standard, SPF and DKIM, Sender Policy Framework and Domain Case Identifier Mail, they have been there for around 10 years. But only recently we realized the problem is very serious, and they have a standard group, DMARC, to consolidate everything together to make sure we have the ability to authenticate emails. So the basic idea between this DMARC is very simple. So the sender's mail server, they have to sign the header fields. Like I just said, gmail.com will make sure any email claims it is from gmail.com is actually from gmail.com. And the receiver's email servers or email client will use the public key crypto system to verify those signatures. And if those emails, if those signatures are not valid, they may say this is a spam, or yeah. So even though this was a standard last year, it has been widely deployed. So if you check your Gmail now, use the Show Original button in your Gmail, you can see that there are header fields like received SPF, passed the check, and authentication results, and passed the check, something like that. So it has been widely deployed, and a lot of organizations. But in order to deploy something like this, every mail server, they have to implement this. So big organizations, they have to change their mail servers, and the Gmails already updates this. So this is what we have for email security. Any questions? Okay, so next Monday we will have a quiz, but it's going to be 10 minutes, not 15 minutes. Only 10 multiple choices questions. And starting from next week, we are going to talk about another topic, software-defined networking and the security with software-defined networking.